Well, hey guys, this is bad. I think I may have been the first channel to announce that sales tax was going to begin to be collected on interstate. Uh, Bonnie is squeaking her dog toy. On interstate purchases some time ago, and sure enough, that is coming to fruition. Well, here is the knockout punch. As you know, I've been going to eBay more and more as a buyer. I'm also a seller there. But as a buyer for my bullion purchases, because you know sometimes you can avoid that whopping sales tax charge. In my state, it's 8% or more. That's California. And here is a message I got yesterday or the day before, which appears to be a game changer once again. Dear buyer, this is from eBay. eBay is now legally required to collect and remit sales tax on behalf of sellers. Okay, whoa. So eBay is now going to begin to pick up the sales tax from you even when the seller does not charge it. For items shipped to buyers in certain states. Okay, we'll take a look at those states, but I suspect they are states that are enforcing the interstate sales tax rules. Then it goes on to say, if you are a tax exempt buyer, okay, I'm going to get into that in a minute because I actually am a tax exempt buyer, and I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you how you might become one as well. But first, let's take a look at what states. We're going to go to the help page. Now, it may take 10 to 14 days to process the exemption status. That's to become tax exempt. So I suspect they're not doing this yet, but it is right around the corner. So we're going to go to the help page and find out more when they're going to start blasting you with sales tax on bullion and coin purchases. So here is the help section called Paying Tax on eBay Purchases. Many countries and jurisdictions around the world apply some sort of tax on consumer purchases, including items bought on eBay. Whether the tax is included in the listing price, added at checkout, charged at the border, or paid directly by the buyer depends on the seller's status, the order price, and the item's location, and your shipping address. Okay, all true. Items delivered to United States address, that's the vast majority of us here, although they are referencing international taxes as well in this piece, which I will put a link to. Taxes may be applicable to your purchase based on a variety of factors: the price, the nature of the item, the delivery address. If you live in a state that does not impose sales tax, you may still see tax calculated on your order if the order is shipped to another state. Okay, but generally people don't ship things to somewhere other than where they live. So if your state does not charge sales tax, you probably are getting away from this clean. Responsibility for the tax. The seller's responsibility. If your shipping address is not in one of the marketplace responsible states, but the seller has a responsibility to charge sales tax, the applicable taxes will be included in your order at checkout. That's very cryptic. I don't understand that, but certainly if they try to charge you the sales tax, you'll know it and you can cancel the purchase. If your shipping address is in one of the marketplace responsible states within the U.S., applicable sales tax will be collected by eBay and included in the order at checkout. Now, what they don't say is when they're going to put that into effect, but you're probably asking, what are the marketplace responsible states? Bonnie. Okay, and here, let's see, I thought I got to that. Here they are. eBay sales tax collection. Based on applicable laws, and I know some states are trying to exempt themselves from this interstate taxation, but here are the states which currently they plan on charging sales tax if you live in this state and you are a buyer. Okay, Minnesota. Effective January 1st, small business exemption. Minnesota has enacted a small business exemption for out-of-state unregistered sellers whose taxable retail sales are less than $10,000. Okay, so it's an eBay sales tax collection responsible state, but it has to be over 10,000 in Minnesota. Okay, Washington, they're going to collect sales tax. Iowa, sales tax. Connecticut, sales tax. DC, sales tax. Nebraska, sales tax. New Jersey, sales tax. A lot of these come into effect on May 1st, which has come and gone. Alabama, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, South Carolina. Now, of course, for bullion in many of these states, it is an alternate sales tax or a sales tax up to a certain level, and then you will be exempted. But eBay is going to swoop in and charge you sales tax on these states if the seller does not. I'm not going to get into the overseas shipments, and obviously refunds would refund your sales tax, I believe. But let's ponder this for a minute. So now the major retailers, most of them are charging sales tax to me, and I'm in California, which is a highly aggressive state for collecting interstate sales tax. And I suspect, other states are getting aggressive about this as well. But for the most part, eBay does not want to violate these new rules. So that means that, if you are in one of these sales tax states, you're going to either have to buy a certain magnitude of silver or gold, which I guess you can save up your purchases, but that makes it harder to access the sales because, many people like to piece those together, even if they're in smaller quantities. Um, so that may change the way you buy your silver and gold. Of course, you can go to your LCS and pay sales tax there. But let me take a break from this for a minute after we shake off the blow here from eBay getting serious about sales tax, and let's go back to the sales tax exemption. All right, the sales tax exemption. Who is exempt from sales tax in a sales tax responsible state? Marketplace responsible state? Well, sellers that are buying for resale are responsible, do not have to pay sales tax if they are buying for resale. And this goes to my point where I have recommended several times that people experience selling on eBay because it's a good idea to find out what the stuff you're buying is worth when you go to resell it, to get familiar with the process, to build up your reputation, and have a way to turn around, flip, or dispose of silver and gold at a good premium, right? I mean, anybody can walk into an LCS and give away their, graded pandas or whatever for spot, but nobody wants to do that. And if you can sell it on eBay at roughly 10% fees, you'll still be way better off. Of course, there are a lot of hassles to that, and I think most people would rather avoid it, but here is another reason to set up an eBay store and get yourself a sales tax exemption. All right, so for somebody like me who has a legit eBay store, I have both a business license and a sales tax exemption, and I pay my income taxes on my sales if I make a profit. So with that said, not everybody wants to do that. But the first two things, the business license in your state, in many states you can get for under $100, and the sales tax exemption I think is even less. All right. So if you do entertain the thought of a legit business, you can obtain those licenses at fairly low amounts, and then you will have a reseller certificate. Okay, they don't say that you have to use it a lot. They just say that the things that you buy have to be for resale. So ponder that for a minute, and if you guys want to know how to obtain a reseller certificate and you're willing to establish yourself as a small business, All right, and if you sell a bunch, if you sell $20,000 of silver or gold, you'll have to pay income taxes because there will be a 1099 coming your way from PayPal. But the first two items, the business license and the reseller certificate, are pretty easy to obtain. You can even use your home address if you want for your business location. And you know, you're an internet sales company and you sell on eBay. And then you will be able to sign up with eBay for this exemption. You can also, when you have that, if a seller is trying to charge you sales tax, you can send them a copy of your exemption, your reseller certificate, and and you'll be able to get them to waive sales tax on your transaction. Okay, and they're not saying you have to sell what you buy immediately. You could be planning to sell that in a couple years. You get my drift? Okay, so if you want to know more about reseller certificates, let me know. I also use my reseller certificate at my LCS. So more and more reasons why you're going to want to consider that. But I know most people will not want to do that. So I guess the upshot of this notification from eBay, more horrible news. The price of bullion has just gone up again because it's going to become very difficult to avoid the sales tax. Um, so ponder that. Now that makes now an even more advantageous time to buy if you can find sellers that are selling without charging the sales tax, which I put tons of links to stuff that you know, they're not charging sales tax currently. Or if you don't live in one of these states, well, good for you. But if you do live in one of these states, it's going to be hard to avoid the sales tax. I think it's going to have just dramatic implications on stacking and collecting. And I don't know that it's going to be good for our hobby here. I think it could possibly even depress the silver market further. Um, so, what are your thoughts? If sales tax is a reality everywhere in most states for purchases that are not high value, how will that impact what you buy? Very, very interesting. And this also has implications for sellers because, you know, the more you have to mess around with sales tax. Believe me, declaring sales tax collected, which I do to the state, is a pain in the butt and will take you a good couple hours, 2, 3 hours every year. Um, you know, to do that filing. So, you know, selling on eBay is getting more difficult as well, and the fees are high. So, you know, still person to person with trusted parties is still the best way to trade your metals. But you know, a lot of people are going to be affected by this, and I don't know that it's a good thing. So, what are your thoughts? And let me know if you'd like to hear more on this sales tax issue. I have a lot of information to share, but I'm not positive everybody really, you know, wants to get into it this deeply. So, if you want more information on sales tax, let me know. If you want to know how to get a reseller certificate, let me know. If you want to know what companies are charging it and what are not currently, I could do that as well. I think very significant. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.